Sure.
She's so sent out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council for January 17th, 2019, to order at 8 o'clock p.m. Mayor on roll call, Council members Ballestieri.
Here.
Dombrowski.
Here.
Ingui.
Here.
Pellegrin.
Here.
Wetchler.
Here.
Council President Golubek.
Here.
Mayor Caramagna.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can everyone please rise for a prayer and flag salute? Oh God, our Father, we ask you to place our meeting in which we entrust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and implant therein a keen sense of justice and greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so that our decisions will always please you and bring you peace and happiness in our community. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey requires at the commencement of every meeting a statement of compliance be read by the presiding officer. Now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements for this meeting have been met by publishing a special meeting notice in the Record and the Herald News, and by posting such a notice in the office of the Board Clerk, as well in the public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said the notice was posted on December 11, 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being videotaped and will be on Cablevision, channel 77, on Mondays, 3 p.m., Thursdays, 11:30 a.m., Fridays at 10 a.m. The video will also be available at the board website, www.elmwoodparknj.us. Thank you.
Mayor, the next item on the agenda, the presentation to the Elmwood Park Crew SCU 10 Morris County Youth Soccer Association Division Champions, has been postponed until the February 21st public meeting.
Okay.
Now we will move on to ordinances that will be introduced on first reading, beginning with ordinance resolution 50-19, introduce ordinance 19-01 on first reading. An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Establish the Water Department of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Bergen County, New Jersey, to fix the rates and prices to be charged for the use of water and establish rules and regulations for the distribution, supply, use, and protection of said water, and penalties for the violations of certain said rules and regulations, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, February 21st, 2019 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the acting borough clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law. Through you, Mayor, this is simply the pass-through rate increase that has been passed to us through the Passaic Valley Water Commission. It was read on introduction at the reorganization meeting on January 3rd, but Finance has since advised us of minor mathematical errors, so it needs to be introduced. Mayor, may I have a motion to introduce the ordinance?
May I have a motion to introduce this ordinance?
Motion.
Second?
Denise?
I'll second.
Both of them? Thank you. Let's call the roll, please.
Okay, Ballestieri?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Wectra?
Yes.
Ingui?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Resolution 51-19, introduced ordinance 19-02 on first reading. An ordinance to amend Chapter 3 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park titled Department of Local Government, more specifically Section 2-27 entitled Police Department, be passed and adopted on first reading. Be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, February 21st, 2019, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the acting borough clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law. Mayor, may I have a motion to
Yes,
introduce?
may I have a motion, please, to introduce?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ballestieri?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Ingui?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Wetchler?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Resolution 52-19, introduced ordinance 19-03 on first reading. An ordinance to amend Chapter 27 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park titled Solid Waste Management. Be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, February 21st, 2019, at 8 p.m., or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the acting clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law. Mayor, may I have a motion to introduce the ordinance?
May I have a motion, please, to introduce this ordinance?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ballestieri?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Ingui?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Wetchler?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Resolution 53-19, introduced ordinance 19-04 on first reading. An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park titled Administration, more specifically, Article 2, Offices Created, Section 2-7 titled Municipal Clerk, and Section 2-7.5 titled Administrative Duties of the Municipal Clerk. Be passed and adopted on first reading. Be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, February 21st, 2019, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that acting borough clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law. Mayor, may I have a motion to
Yes,
introduce
may I
this
have a
ordinance?
motion to this ordinance?
So moved.
Okay, call the roll.
Ballestieri?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Ingui?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Wetchler?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Resolution 54-19, introduced ordinance 19-5 on first reading. An ordinance establishing a three-way stop at the intersections of Cadmus and Fournier Crescent to amend Chapter 7 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park titled Traffic, more specifically Section 7-21 titled Multi-Way Stop Intersections, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, February 21st, 2019, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the acting borough clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in the legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law. Mayor, may I have a motion to
Yes,
introduce the
please, may I have a
ordinance?
motion?
So moved. Second.
Call the roll.
Ballestieri?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Ingui?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Wetchler?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Resolution 55-19, introduced ordinance 19-06 on first reading. An ordinance to amend Chapter 14 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park titled Fire Prevention, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, February 21st, 2019, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, a same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the acting clerk be, and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law. Mayor, may I have a motion to introduce?
Need the motion?
So moved.
Call the roll.
Ballestieri,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Ingui,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Wetchler,
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have Resolution 56-19, resolution authorizing appointment of municipal representatives to the Bergen County Community Development Regional Committee. Resolution 57-19, authorized payment for borough clock installation, Michael Richella Construction Company. Authorized payment for recreation building wall repairs, Michael Richella Construction Company. 59-19, authorized payment for Orchard, Franklin, and Lee Street improvements, American Asphalt and Milling Services. Resolution 60-19, authorized release of performance survey bonds and cash bonds, Mohammed Ahmed, Sarah Donuts, LLC. Resolution 61-19, appointment of firefighter Gregory Killigan, Company Number 2. Resolution 62-19, appointment of firefighter Stephen Garcia, Company 2. Resolution 63-19, authorized vacation buyback, Frank Thorpe. Resolution 64-19, authorized vacation buyback, Chris Liptak. Resolution 65-19, appointment of OEM deputy coordinators. Resolution 66-19, establishing members of the Stigma-Free Task Force. Resolution 67-19, Central Bergen Mutual Fire Aid Association Agreement. Resolution 68-19, authorizing execution of risk management consultant agreement. Resolution 69-19, appoint special legal counsel Mark Madio. Resolution 70-19, appoint special prosecutor Albert Wunsch. Resolution 71-19, approval of bills list and payroll. Resolution 72-19, resolution opposing construction of the North Bergen Liberty Generating Gas-Fired Power Plant. Resolution 73-19, authorized purchase of two 2019 Police Inceptor SUVs, Fire Prevention Bureau. Resolution 74-19, resolution authorizing the use of all-purpose room, Elmwood Park takes action. Resolution 75-19, retirement compensation for Charles Pinsari, Police Department. Resolution 76-19, resolution authorizing additional compensation for Deborah Bulmer. Resolution 77-19, to accept consent agenda. Mayor, may I have a motion to approve the consent?
Yes, may I have a motion, please, to
So moved.
approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Sorry, one second. Here it is. Okay, Ballestieri?
Yes to everything except I recuse on R-6319, R-6419, R-7119, R-7519, R-7619.
Dombrowski?
Yes to all.
Ingui?
Yes, but I recuse on R-6319, R-6419, R-7119, R-7319, R-7519, and R-7619.
Okay. Pellegrin?
Yes.
Wetchler?
I recuse myself on R 71-19 and yes to the rest.
Okay, and Golubek?
Yes.
Marlene, I'm sorry, I missed one, I believe. R-7319.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. Mayor, moving to departmental reports, we have the library board minutes from November 19th, 2018, I need a motion to accept and file.
Okay, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I'll accept all the file. All agree?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay. Council report.
Mayor, this concludes my portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Council report. Ms. Ingrid?
Sure.
Ready?
Sure. Okay, so this is my report on the ambulance corps. We met at their monthly meeting on January 9th, and the chief of police tallied his numbers for 2018. They answered a total of 1,366 calls in 2018. He wanted to express that this past year, the ambulance corps was hit pretty hard by losing 4 key members, and we desperately need volunteers for the ambulance corps. I am also working with the chief and the assistant chief on a meet and greet that we hope can happen maybe in early April to get people to come out to the ambulance corps and especially some teenagers and stuff to get their interest in volunteering for the town. And I think, let's see, our next meeting will be on February 13th. And I think that's it. Progress.
Mr. Dombrowski.
Thank you, Mayor. The fire department has already had a busy new year. With 17 days into the new year, the fire department has responded to 23 calls, including 3 tonight. Of those 23 fire prevention had to investigate 3 active fires, including last week's Marcal fire. 2 motor vehicle turnovers, 1 of them was an entrapment. The remaining were active fire or carbon monoxide alarms. Residents at this time of year, you're reminded to please not put anything around your furnace or your hot water heater because it does create a possibility of a fire spreading, like we had yesterday on Beechwood. Somebody had clothes next to their furnace, it caught on fire. Now the houses can't be used for a few months until it gets cleaned up and all. So please make sure you do not have anything around your furnaces or your hot water heater. If anybody has any questions as far as fire prevention, they also have carbon monoxide and fire detectors that they will help senior citizens put into their homes free of charge. If anybody is interested in that, please call our fire official at 201-796-1457, extension 221. I would like to wish our Assistant Borough Clerk Barbara Well as she moves on. I'd like to wish our Councilwoman Ingui a happy birthday today. And then lastly, Mayor, I'd like to congratulate Marlene for doing an outstanding job sitting there tonight. So great job,
I agree
Marlene.
with you. Very good.
Progress.
The meeting is not over yet, so.
So far, she's doing an outstanding job, Mayor.
So far, okay, fine. Ms. Wechsler, you ready?
Yes.
Her
I'm
part
liaison
is
for the
done.
homeowners community. The first meeting will be January the 23rd at 7 o'clock. It's at the senior center. Everyone is invited. You do not have to be a homeowner to come to these meetings. It's an open meeting for everyone. Coffee and, dessert is served. We need new people to come in. We're going to put a new slate of officers this month. So please come out and join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Alice.
Thank you. For our rec, basketball, both rec and travel basketball are doing well. Our travel team is winning all the games so far. Rec is playing here at the rec complex. We have 139 registered. Kinder Crew, this is a program ongoing for children from ages 4 to 6 at our training facility in Garfield. Winter indoor soccer for grades 1 to 4 begins tomorrow. There are 51 children registered. Rec memberships are now being accepted for new and renewal. Street hockey program is ongoing and now being played indoors. Field permits are now being accepted for spring and summer. The summer camp is normally prepared in January and February, but because of computer issues, it might be extended a little longer. DPW Christmas tree pickup was extended for 1 more week. Also, our main roads and hills near the schools have been salted with the anticipation of the snow coming. And there will be signs by the Rosemont Park section for Curb Your Dogs. That'll be going up in the next week or 2. Tonight we had our Elmwood Park Takes Action stigma-free meeting, and it's such a success. And our task force was reappointed this evening, and we're doing, actually, my granddaughter's doing a fundraiser for Stigma Free, selling bracelets, so you may see that on Facebook. All this money will be raised, goes to Stigma Free. But please join us. We'd be happy to get more members, and we're really moving forward with some great things coming up for 2019. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Pellegrini.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My Board of Health update. They had their reorganization meeting on January 14th. New officers were appointed for 2019. Abby Morello is president, Edith Spinelli vice president, Clarissa Proctor treasurer, Marlene DeStefano board secretary. They meet the second Monday of each month. No meetings in July and August. Their next meeting is February 11th at 7 p.m., and the public is always welcome to attend. My police update. The Elmwood Park Police Department's Records Bureau will now have additional hours to accommodate individuals who are unable to access the Bureau during the daytime. The new hours are Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., every other Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., which started on January 4th, and every other Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., which had started on January 12th. The police also received $4,594.94 for 2018 from the State Body Armor Replacement Fund Program. This will allow the police department to purchase body armor for new officers and officers whose vests are due to expire. Average time of the vest that will be effective is 5 years. These funds come from a grant that was applied by our grant writers, Millennium Strategies. And then Councilwoman Balistrieri and myself, we're starting a new project called Council Corner. The goals are to bring the community together. We want to work with the PTOs, the town clergy, concerned residents, and our businesses. We want to identify 1 or 2 projects a year and work together to implement the goals. Our first meeting will be held on Saturday, February 23rd from 1 to 3 p.m. in the all-purpose room downstairs, 182 Market Street. Councilwoman Balistrieri and I are co-chairing of this group. We are both passionate about starting this project. This is another way to bring our community together in an informal setting. A lot of times people, when they come to meetings, they just won't get up on the microphone and speak, or they can't get out at night because they have small children, or whatever the reason. But this gives them another avenue. It will be Saturdays, and we're going to see how the group feels about either meeting monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly. So we'll leave it up to the group. But our first meeting is the 23rd. There'll be more information to follow on our website, so look for that. And we hope to see a lot of people there, and we hope to, do some nice changes for the community. We want to thank the mayor and council and our council colleagues for their support with this new project. Every time one of us comes up with a new idea that we think can better our community, we always all support each other, and our mayor is always, go, do it, try it. What's the worst that can happen? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least we're trying new things, this council. We're all very supportive of each other. And maybe 1 or 2 people's idea for one thing, and 2 or 3 other people may do another thing. And you may see us all at these things, or you may see 2 or 3 of us. But we're really trying different little things to really pull the community together. So I hope to see a lot of you there and progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Presidente.
Thank you, Mayor. Just from the planning board, we had a meeting last night. There was 1 resolution on the agenda. It passed. That's the riverfront project, so that matter is done in front of the board. And that was the only matter last night. Progress, Mayor. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's quick. Nice. That's sweet. That's the way I like it. Yeah. Excuse me. Attorney, you have anything to say?
Yeah, one thing, Mr. Mayor and Council. Over the weekend, I received an email to review an Oprah request by the police department. It was a request where body cam videos were Oprah'd. And before they released it, I took the opportunity of reviewing the particular videos, and I made my recommendation to release most of it with the exception of a certain part of the video cam which would have infringed upon personal property and personal identity, and whereby it would cause problem, and it's not subject to Oprah requests. What I asked the police officers at that time was if they had a way of redacting the particular video. They told me they did not have it. Yeah, I strongly recommend, because based on recent developments with regards to body cams and body cam recordings, the court is going to address those issues pretty soon, because it's coming up, and it's being contested in a lot of fashions. The cameras have been contested with regards to the police car, police vehicles, and the courts have somewhat been very reluctant to give everything that was on that video. But you needed ability to redact. Body cams now are the other issue, which is becoming subject to Oprah requests. You have to have the department, the police department, and I think I made this suggestion to police chief and business administrator, Mr. Foligno. The police department should have a program in their system where they would be able to review particular video and then to redact certain parts which are not subject to Oprah request for reasons either of identity, protection for privacy, and all the other aspects which precludes an Oprah request. So therefore, I would suggest strongly that the council consider some sort of program, computer program, to allow the police officers and or if council to turn around and redact those parts of the body cam or actually videos from a car videos. And that's one of the resolutions that I would strongly suggest at this point.
Thank you. Maybe, Mr. Foligno, you want to tell the public a little bit about the hacking of our computers, perhaps, what's going on, because I don't get any emails anymore, and I used to get so many every day. I'm unable to respond to anyone, so give us a brief,
Sure. So the borough was the victim of a cyber attack. They're happening pretty frequently now. A bunch of surrounding towns got hit. We were one of the towns that got hit. We're working with our IT vendors to remediate the situation. We're in the rebuild process. In our situation, what happens is somebody gets into your system somehow, some way. They encrypt your files. They don't take your files. They just encrypt them. And then they hold that for ransom until you pay the fee, and then they give you the encryption keys. For whatever reason, in our case, the attackers are not replying back to us. We've reached out to them through a forensic team that was provided to us through our insurance carrier. We made numerous attempts through the forensic team to speak to these people and to find out what the ransom is so we can pay it, so we can get our stuff, the keys to the files. No response. It's been close to 4 weeks now, so we've started the rebuild process. Fortunately, a lot of the data was recoverable, and we have 2 teams working on the recovery and the rebuild process. So email was down for a little while, so if anybody didn't get a response from any borough officials, that's why. We should be back up and running with email. Mayor, I'll find out why you're not getting yours, but our email is back up and running, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Sarah did a nice article on it in the Bergen Record.
Thank you. I just want to apologize to the people who sent me emails, and I wasn't able to respond. Nothing there, so I hope things get better. I don't know if you noticed, it's on Facebook that the clock is up again. I mean, it's been up for a while. We are a celebration. We cut the ribbon. We made official. And I was worried about the light tonight, and the lights are on again. So it looks nice. I like the clock. Right? A nice clock. I had a meeting with the Division of Economic Development in Bergen County, and I talking to them. They want to come to Elmo Park, meet all the business people here. They're able to help the businessmen and also make a contribution. I cannot go in details. It takes too long, but I want to arrange a meeting with maybe the Chamber of Commerce and as soon as possible invite them to come here. It will be a panel. I think we should have them here. Invite also people from the public. Really, it's all I have. The only thing I want to say that, Lorraine Pellegrini, I thank you really for the good job you've been doing all this time. It's great. I'm very proud of you. You work so hard, and I think really, I'm all excited about this thing here, and I help you as long as I can. The same goes to Sandy Balistrieri, Sigma Free. I tell you, I didn't know much about it. I learned so much. I really should have been applying back in Sicily, where I come from, and really, it's something great. People, students, everybody should be aware of those things. Yeah. Finally, we have a respect for everyone. That's great. I guess the councils work very hard, all of us. We work very hard. I see that. If not in present, we do on the phone. As I said, Mr. Dombrowski is always on the phone, well informed. Thank you for the information you give us. I do have the radio in the house, but I don't understand so much statics, and you are very clear. Thank you. Just want to say also thank you to Mike Foligno. Mike Foligno, I'll tell you, I'm so happy now that you work with me. I was worried in the beginning, but now I feel so good. You are a hard-working person. You're always there. I tell you, you don't miss anything. Soon I open my mouth, things are done. Very surprised. Great job, Mike. I'm very proud of that. Thank you for taking away all the pressure on me, because it was a lot of pressure, and you are more knowledgeable than I am in many different areas. So thank you very much, and I thank you, the public, for coming tonight, and thank you. That's my report. Now, I guess I need a motion to open the floor for public comments.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, we need the roll call.
On roll call, Balistieri?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Pingley?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Whitclerk?
Yes.
Golovic?
Yes.
If anyone from the public who wishes to come here and state your comments, please come forward, state your name and address, your blood type, in case we need the blood.
Jeffrey Wright at 35 Hillman Drive. I just have a question. Tonight, there were some votes on these ordinances. Were everyone voted yes on all of them? I would assume there were no recusals or abstentions or anything, correct? On the ordinances?
On the first reading? Yeah.
Yes.
There were first readings,
They were all
yes.
affirmative. Another question is progress on the intersection of Market Street and Boulevard, going east and west, north and south. Is there a completion date in coming up there soon?
I think, let Mike talk.
So we met with the engineer last week, waiting on Verizon to finish up some work. Once that's completed, the next step is the paving process, which is going to be early spring.
Okay, so until then, there's,
Nothing else to do but Verizon's part.
and then the paving and,
They'll be paving in spring when the weather brings.
and then, such as the corner there with the tank, or whatever you could call it, the armored military gun carrier, or whatever that thing is that going to be moved up shortly thereafter? Are they going to put a new pad there, or whatever? Anything going on with that?
Mr. Freitag, I had asked this council and this mayor to have somebody come in and give us a design of the corner, because as that space stands now, it's pretty broad. And before we put the tank in the middle, maybe the tank would be best if it's just to the left. So I think we're going to do that come the springtime, is have somebody come in, give us an artist rendition of what that corner will look like, and then everything will be appropriated then. I think it's premature. The tank is definitely going back there. That's not the question. It's just where is it going to be going in that section, so that it fits the aesthetics of what we as the mayor and council would like to, and the community would like to see of that corner.
I realize that the entire area is a construction site, but during this entire project, the pedestrian walkways, the bus, it's atrocious.
It is.
I go through there and I see, and I think in a lot of cases, it could have been addressed in a better manner than they've been doing. And
Well, part of the problem, because we can't pave the road now, if we were to cut those old curbs out, Then we have open roadway, and nothing would stick if we put any kind of macadam down, so, especially in this cold weather. So it's probably best to leave it as is right now until the weather breaks come
And I'm
March.
talking about the pedestrian walkways, not the roadway. There were many areas, I mean, bad. I never saw a construction site where they won't plate over different things, so people, I mean, it's not good. Even the people waiting there for the bus, I mean, it's like, oh, I'm glad no one has been hurt
No,
so
and
far.
Mayor,
And
through
now
you-
with the weather, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Mayor, through you, maybe we can ask our business administrator to reach out to the engineer and see if he can do something with, as Mr. Freitag had mentioned, is there a temporary fix we can use for these crosswalks?
You want to do that, Mike? Yes, sir.
The other thing I have is this. Over the, I think it was summer before last, there was the program of sweeping the streets with the alternate side. Is that ever being considered, or is that totally done now?
I think the only real supporter of that program is no longer on the council.
Okay, so there is no support for that?
I don't want to speak for anyone else, but since that pilot expired, I don't think anyone, aside from that one member, either party, either council.
Mr. Freitag, we got
suggests
many,
look into it.
we got many reports on that, more negative than positive. And I think, it's not that this council won't readdress it sometime down the road, but that particular program of alternate side, it didn't work. We got too many complaints from too many different residents, depending on whether they lived on a dead-end street. And then we had people on through streets that said, it's, especially in two-family zones, there was a lot of negative, there was more negative than there was
I know
positive.
Second Street was the one mainly.
Right. But I mean, like Miller, Phillip, those streets where there's a lot of two-family homes, people were complaining that, there's just not enough parking with the two-family houses. So, as I said, I think there was the negatives outweighed the positives. So we did, once the pilot was over, we never readdressed it. But it's possible to do in certain parts of the town. But if it can't be done townwide, then why would we, punish people in a certain spot of town versus so it's a catchy subject.
The only thing that's interesting about it, it's been done at the apartments, and I mean, they move, and it's done. Never a growl there, and it's done regularly. And my street, it gets done, there's cars parked there, they go around, and this and that, and it doesn't get swept. I know the people on Second, they said that they didn't care, and that seemed to be that was judges the whole town, and other people
It
got
wasn't
tickets.
just Second Street that we got the negative.
Well, I'm just saying that I was aware of from when I'm
Right,
coming here. I
right.
wouldn't be aware of anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Close.
Oh, one more.
Mayor, Council, thank you. Chief, thank you. My name is Anthony Lopone. I own Park Auto Body. It's a business in Elmwood Park. I've been in this town for over 40 years, servicing Elmwood Park residents, servicing the town of Elmwood Park in regards to the towing and the towing ordinances and such. Recently, there has been a complete revamp of the ordinance for towing.
If you don't mind, please.
Sure. Recently, there's been a complete revamp of the towing ordinance in the town. The change in these ordinance to the town excludes myself, excludes other businesses that has been doing servicing the town for these past years. I don't see how these changes provide a benefit to the residents of the town or the businesses to the town that have been paying taxes to this town for all these years. I'm not sure what brought about these changes or change to the ordinance and what benefit it provides to the town or the residents of the town.
Sir, why were you excluded?
The parameters set into this ordinance sets timeframes for service, equipment, and parameters that would exclude the current vendors, myself, other businesses that have been servicing these towns over all these years, as far as equipment-wise and all that. Most of that equipment is not necessary to service Elmwood Park. It hasn't been for as long as I've been here, which is the majority of my life. So the current change to require equipment that isn't necessary, hasn't been necessary for all these years. I'm not sure why these changes were made and what the benefit is to the residents of the town or to the businesses.
Can you be more specific as to what type of equipment you're talking about? Because I don't understand what equipment isn't necessary.
Well, the change in the ordinance requires heavy boom recovery equipment for recovering 18-wheelers or overturned vehicles. That is something that Elmwood Park doesn't encounter, very rarely encounters. You can count on one hand in the last 20 years it has encountered. But now is a requirement in the ordinance to have that equipment. To be operating 7 days a week is another change that has never been required through any ordinance in the town ever before. Now it's required, you have to operate 7 days a week. Not in response to an incident. Obviously, when we're on call 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But to release vehicles, business has to be open 7 days a week. A lot of these changes are something that I don't see where the benefit to the town or the residents comes into play, but it excludes myself, it excludes other businesses that have been in this town for a long period of time.
Right. But with the exception of the 24/7 availability, you as a business owner who has participated in our towing program, what would prevent you from joining forces with another colleague that you know that has that boom so that you can then be considered compliant?
That is how we operated over all these years.
Part of the problem that I could see, and this is just me talking, I'm not talking for the whole council, but years ago we had about 10 different towers that were capable of towing in our town. Recently, over the last few years, we limited it down to 4. The problem with that is that, you know, trying to manage 4 different companies, saying this one gets this week and this one gets this week, I found it very difficult. I know if I was sitting down on the police desk, it would be very difficult for me. So for me personally, and again, I'm speaking for myself, not for the mayor and council here, I could tell you that I find it would be easier if we had one source to deal with all of that instead of having to farm it out to all these different companies.
I tow for other towns as well. Other towns have many more towers than 4. 4 is a very limited number and a very manageable number. Even prior to when you're saying there was 10 towers, prior to that, there was 4 to 5 towers. You operate on rotation, everybody works with each other, and we've never encountered an issue when we found something that we couldn't recover or something that couldn't be done. The current ordinance requests that the tower has 7 tow trucks, 7 recovery vehicles, or I don't have it in front of me, but it's something that's not really necessary for the town of Elmwood Park. It may be necessary for the town of Patterson. It may be necessary for a town where you're dealing with a large volume of heavy vehicles rolling through. Not necessarily Elmwood Park. Not Saddlebrook, not Garfield. These other towns, not required. I don't see where this, dealing with one vendor, which excludes, the only vendors that can meet this criteria are not in Elmwood Park, and very, very few, maybe none, in Bergen County, which means that if a resident of Elmwood Park has their vehicle towed, they need to go and get their vehicle. It's not going to be from Elmwood Park, it's not going to be from Bergen County, it's going to be from outside of the county that they have to go get their vehicle. I don't see that as being a benefit to.
So here's where we are, sir. Obviously, you know, the ordinance was changed. We put this out, we put a request out for proposals, I want to say late last year. Then the deadline came and went, and we did not receive any proposals. And why? Don't 100% know. Could be all the reasons you're saying, or it could be people didn't know to look for it. As I'm sure you may know or may not know, it's out for bid again. So when that deadline comes, we're going to see if nothing comes in, then more than likely we're probably going to have to go back to what we were doing. But even if we get one or two proposals, we're going to have to obviously look through the proposals, see what everyone indicates, and if we don't feel comfortable with the numbers being presented, or you know, just what they have and what they can accomplish, then we're going to have to look at, is the old way the better way? So the situation is still in flux. The ordinance has changed because we had to change it to pursue this other way. But I wouldn't say it's completely set in stone. It depends on what comes in and the conversations that we have after that happens.
Obviously, being a person in business that's been in this town for this many years, I know some other operators, none of them as long as me. I really would appreciate maybe some input, a reach out to see, you know, what could work, what would work. Like I said, I've been in this town for over 40 years, servicing the town and its residents for that amount of period. And if there is something that comes up, that I would appreciate maybe having the ability to have some input into.
So you're saying that you'd be willing to sit down with our attorney and our business administrator to work to see if we can come to a conclusion?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if it doesn't include me, it's.
No, we appreciate you offering. Nobody's come forward and offered that, and you've enlightened me a little bit on certain things that I wasn't aware of either. So I appreciate you coming to the microphone tonight and speaking your mind.
Thank you.
So while I have you there, obviously I manage the police department. I originally went to the council when we had 8 or 9 towers, which for me and my staff is an absolute nightmare to manage. You sound all well and good the way everybody's perfect. It's a total mess and nightmare to manage 8 or 9 towers. We get complaint after complaint after complaint, and my guys are stuck on jobs, and the towers are not showing up. They don't have the proper equipment, yada, 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 and that's the origin of all of these changes. We trimmed it down to 4, which was a little more manageable, and then someone who's no longer part of the governing body brought up the idea of going to a one-tow system through the bid process. The ordinance was drafted with the specifications by our previous attorney. I understand you're not happy with the way the ordinance is written because it precludes certain people because of equipment. It wasn't written to exclude anyone. It was written to be inclusive for the police department, for what our needs are and what we feel we need, and we mimic that from other towns that have a good tow system. So the way you presented everything sounds nice, but this is the other side of that coin. And we're emergency services, and we're out there in the weather, in dangerous conditions, on highways, and officers are stuck out there for 45 minutes, an hour, waiting for a tow truck. I'm not saying this is your company, but I'm saying managing 8, 9 towers, everybody's got different drivers and different way they do things and different way they manage their businesses. These are the problems that we're having, and we can't have that. We don't have the time. We don't have the ability. We don't want to risk the officers being out there. And you bring up, if somebody has a yard out of town or whatever, not all our tows are Elmwood Park residents. A small portion is. We have a lot of people commuting, passing through us. A lot of our tows are people that may live in wherever, and they got to come here to get their car. So, it's a little different story when you hear the other side.
I 100% agree with you, and I agree when it went from 8 to 9 towers to 4. 100% agree with you. And you're completely right about that. And a lot of those towers, like you're saying, response times were off the wall, or there was no response. 100%. And a lot of the reason from going from 8 to 9 to 4 was to manage. And the 4 towers that are on now, we work with each other. If somebody can't respond, We're in touch with each other. Who can respond? Who can't respond the quickest? Who can get there? You need more equipment? Somebody else can back each other. We work together. And that is true, and that's completely that. When it came down to the town ordinance that was prior, the way the ordinance read, and when that change was made, zoning requirements that were made, I was the only company that hired an attorney, got the traffic study, came here before the zoning board, and did everything properly to maintain my ability to tow and to serve Elmwood Park and the residents of Elmwood Park. All the other towers moved their operation outside of Elmwood Park so they didn't have to follow the regulations. So obviously you can see my point is that I've done as much as I can, and I've done everything correctly and to serve Elmwood Park, and I would hate to see that it goes to something that doesn't work for Elmwood Park. So whatever decision is made, I would like to at least be informed or have the right or have some ability to have input or to, and like I said, if it excludes me, it excludes me. If it's the right thing, it's the right thing. But I would like to at least have an opportunity to.
Thank you.
To be
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else
Thank you,
wishes to
Mayor.
come up here?
Hello, Doreen Aspras, 81 Van Riper. One of the issues I wanted to bring to your attention, and I think I did to a few of you when you came by my house during the election, and now that snow is coming. I live on Van Riper, and I guess we're from the old houses that we don't have property up front, so it's our house, the sidewalk, a little piece of grass, and the road. So during snow, when we have snow and a lot of snow, and I appreciate the DPW and all what they do, but the problem in our street is that we don't have any space to put the snow. So when we have a lot of snow and we shovel it and we put it in that little space in front of our houses, then the DPW comes and everything from the road comes again to our properties, and we don't have anywhere to put the snow. And I think one of you, I don't remember who, they told me a couple of years ago that you were either in the process of buying a truck that removes snow, or you already purchased it. That takes, when there's a lot of snow, that...
We have equipment that we can use for like Market Street when there's those big mounds of snow for the business district that gets up to a certain height, that our DPW will go out and take it and bring it down so that people can walk from the street into the business. Your particular road, it's not an excuse. It's a county road. Yeah, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse, but, you know, I understand your situation. It really is, especially if we get, you know, anywhere of, 18 inches of snow. You're trying to put all of that snow on basically 1.5 feet of grassy spot, because by law, you also have to have your sidewalk cleared. That's the ordinance. You have to have your sidewalk cleared. I understand, and I think that it's something that our administrator as well as our DPW can try to work together on something for that particular section of the street. Those houses are right up against the road. You're 100% correct. I don't have that answer for you today, but we could try to look into it.
I just want to bring it to your attention.
No, you're right, and it has been a problem.
Trucks out, maybe consider, because also we can only park on one side of the street. On my side, we can't park on the other side, even though across the street, most of the houses are built like, I don't know, was it 15 feet away from the street? But ours, like we're all right by the...
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. And my other issue is, and it's a good thing that Felina is here, speeding in my street. It's really bad in my street, and I don't know if it's because if it's county road or not, but I don't remember seeing, I don't think there are speed limit signs on my street.
Well, the ordinance is it's 25 miles an hour on any side street. That's the law.
They're really speeding, and sometimes when I have spoken to a couple of police officers, I said, you know what, maybe if you park like on Church or on Beach Street, looking at Ben Riper, he will give tons of tickets because everybody's speeding.
Chief, can we have Dave Myers do a study on that block?
We'll put the speed sign up there and get a ballpark on how fast the cars are going. You know, this is a problem on every block, or
I know.
a perceived problem, I'd say. Usually when we do the studies, we don't find it to be excessive speed. There's really no quick fix for it. It's not really practical to sit an officer on Van Riper Ave to do radar, where you'll get 5 cars an hour, because we have so many other things that we're doing. So we have to find other methods of trying to get the motoring public to obey the laws. And, well, you know, I'm in the process of getting a proposal together to buy more of those signs so we can have maybe 5 and just move them around the problem streets, because they do get people's attention and they do get people to slow down. You know, it's not really practical to have speed traps on every block, because there's so many blocks that are complaining about it. But on the other side, I don't see the accidents. I don't see the you know, the problems that everybody is
Well,
saying.
I'll
So-
tell you, for example, especially for us, I guess because we're so much up front of the street, we can't even see when we get out of our driveways. We can't see, and they can't see us, because, see, my driveway's here everybody's parked, my house is right here, so when I try to get out, they don't see me, I don't see them, and it's also dangerous, because they really speed on the
It's already
because you have,
20.
my street, you can go to 80, you can go to 46, and cut to go to Market Street, so it's a busy street. So just consider it, that's all, for both.
Thank you, thank you. Is anyone else, please, wants to come up here? No, I guess if no one else wishes to be heard, I close the public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I remember this meeting is being videotaped. It will be on Cablevision, Channel 77, on Mondays, 3 p.m., Thursdays, 11:30 a.m., Fridays, 10 a.m. The video will be also available on the borough website, www.emoparknj.us. I have a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Good night, all.
Be careful. It's supposed to be slippery.
Yeah. It's all right.